called The Band?
Yes.
Really popular.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Pioneers, you know.
They weren't the first band, but they did call themselves the band.
They skipped the step of like we should come up with a band name like and what is the first thing to come to mind?
Maybe
when you
it's
think
like
of?
a Berserk reference. The Band of the Hawk.
No, it's not.
You don't know.
I guarantee you it's not. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Nonsense, where we give you all the latest movie news you may have missed. I'm Nick Simmons.
And I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Zach Smith.
And for the week of October 12th, let's roll the previews. Zach, what have you been watching?
Well, Nick.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm high adrenaline today.
Oh, yeah, I bet. We've
Yeah.
had a pretty rocking day.
Yeah, we had like a little pre birthday bash for you.
Yeah,
This guy-
thanks for spoiling it. I was going to go into it.
No. I get to walk all over your birthday plans.
You can find some photos of what we did on the day before my birthday on Instagram.com/NicksUnderFire.
What did I watch? That's a good question.
This week,
Nick.
yes.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I watched one thing for our theme, our spooky theme this week.
Yes.
Boo.
It's just Boo.
Boo.
Not B-E-A, not B-E-A,
Not
X.
Bo.
Bo, like as in, hey, you're my beau. You're my beau girl.
Yeah.
Or boy.
Boo?
Is it more like,
Bo is a boy term.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's my beau.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
my
a
beau.
Southern term that women use for their men.
It's not just like short for Beauregard.
No?
Yeah, that's one of the Duke boys. It's Bo Duke.
Yeah, Bo. Well, it's spelled different.
Short for
But yeah,
Beauregard.
yeah.
B-O.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh.
Body odor, Duke.
Yeah.
That's a classic reference. None of our listeners watch Dukes of Hazzard.
I've never seen Dukes of Hazzard.
What the fuck?
Except for one of
movie.
the many scenes. No, I didn't watch the movie either.
It's actually pretty funny.
It's
not
one of the
any good, but-
many scenes of the General. That's
Yeah.
the car name.
Boss
right?
Hog.
Yeah. No, not Boss Hog.
Oh, the car itself.
The car
sorry,
itself,
I'm sorry.
the
I'm sorry. I'm
General.
sorry.
The General Lee.
Yes.
Which, signs of the times when that show was made, right?
Because it has the
We can
Confederate
just
flag
have
on it. Yeah.
huge Confederate flag on syndicated television,
It's
and nobody bats an eye.
It's still. I mean, we're talking in 2019, and it's still a thing in certain parts of the U.S. So
Yes, it is.
politics. That's not politics.
I watched Midsommar.
Midsummer.
Midsummer.
It would just say Midsummer.
Well, I said Midsummer originally when we were talking about what movies we were looking forward to, and I said Midsummer, and you're like, it's Midsommar.
I know.
So I've been saying Midsommar ever since then. And then what? The first time you hear the word in the fucking movie, they say Midsummer, and yeah, you're goddamn right. I'm holding this grudge.
Well, hey, guess what? I don't think you understand, but my middle name isn't Garrett. It's
Gary?
It's Chopbuster. It's Nick Chopbuster Simmons.
No,
I like to bust
Buster.
chops. All right, I like to just mess with people. I need to just let it go. All right,
I
need
will
you
not.
to take it easy.
I'll hold this till the end of my days.
End of my days.
My gravestone will say, it's pronounced Midsummer, you jackass.
Really, you want to hold the grudge for this mediocre
Yeah,
film?
I will be in the remake of The Grudge.
Oh, you're gonna be what? Sayako, I think is the name of the.
No,
character?
that's The Ring. You
I'm
fucking
sorry.
normie.
I confused the Grudge and the Ring.
Well,
Let
you
that be a
shouldn't.
known fact about me.
Did you know that they did a movie where it's Sayako versus
Yes.
Grudge Girl?
Yes.
I can't remember her name.
Grudge Girl.
Yeah, Grudge Girl.
I think it's just. Are we gonna look that up?
No, I'm not worried about it. If you are a discerning viewer or listener who would like to see that, I believe that movie is on Shudder.
Yeah. The
SHUDDER. Like,
it's like the horror movie network channel for like
I've still yet to see it, but I want to.
the Ring versus the Grudge. I think
Yeah,
is
yeah.
is that the name of the movie?
Basically, it's
Ring versus-
it's Grudge Girl versus Sayako.
That's not what it's called though.
No, it
the
is.
movie.
It is, but it like Grudge Girl's name is actually there.
Fine, I'm looking it up.
Huh.
Sadako versus Kayako.
There you go.
2016.
Kaiko, that's the one.
Okay, as two white American guys, I don't feel bad about not knowing the names of those characters.
We remembered Sadako. That's good.
I said Sayako, not
I
Sadako.
thought you said Sadako.
No,
I probably
Sadako.
repeated Sayako as
This
well.
bit has gone on for way too long.
It really has. I watched Midsummer. You
Midsummer.
watched it with me.
I did watch it with you. I was not in the right state.
You were drugged.
I was voluntarily
Heavily
drugged. I was heavily drugged because I had the sniffles from last week's podcast. We watched this literally right after the
Immediately
podcast.
after.
We went back to your place and watched it, and I was like, "This movie is garbage." And
It's because you fell asleep for half of it.
I fell asleep, and did I snore? Did you?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, I'm known to snore. It was me, you, and Casey were watching
That's
it.
why I looked over and you were like, "I'm good.
I'm good."
Like,
Because I woke up immediately after. I know when I'm being looked at.
You can go home, man. You don't have to stay here. And you're like, no,
No, you drove me over here.
I'm gonna stick it out.
It's a bit of a drive, so I might as well stick it out. And I liked the movie that Ari Aster, the director of Midsummer, directed, which was Hereditary.
Yeah.
And I liked that movie. Thought I would like this one. What did you think about this one?
I think overall, I did enjoy it. It's if you're looking for something that's off kilter, to your normal horror, Ari Aster is like the way to go.
An actual slow burn.
Yeah. Because I felt the same way coming out of Hereditary that I felt coming out of Midsummer, where I don't ever I was never terrified. You know, I was just disturbed.
Right.
Which I think that's his thesis statement for so far.
You don't have to be scared to be uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, and I think uncomfortable is what he's aiming for. Especially in Midsummer.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie is shot in the daylight.
It's all daytime.
They're in a part of
almost
Sweden, Norway? What is it? They say. I don't remember though.
I don't know.
They go somewhere.
That part of the world.
Where it's light all the time at this point. So there's one scene in the entire movie that is actually dark, and it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Other than that, you basically have to take
in the beginning part.
Well, yeah, but I mean, once they get to
the big chunk of the movie,
the movie,
yeah,
it's just all in the daylight. So you have to take everything at kind of not face value per se, but you have to understand why what you're seeing is disturbing, which isn't exactly hard. It's just it requires you to kind of think or contextualize while you're viewing it.
But you wouldn't say it's it's not a smart man's horror movie where you have to think about everything.
No. Everything
because there's actual general disturbing things.
Yeah. It's played fairly straight to the chest. There's some underlying things where I think you can kind of go deeper on, but you don't have to do that.
Right.
I think I came away from it generally in a more favorable light than you did. Just by virtue of being awake for all of it.
Listen, I was nodding off on it, but I feel like if I watched it again sober, I would come away from it liking it more, but not liking it as much as the way you were describing it.
So I'll grant you that there are scenes in this that go on for a long time.
Right.
It is very much it's more than just let the tension build sort of thing. It's we are in the tension right now, and we're just fucking splashing around in it and soaking it, But this is our life now.
Yeah.
That's what you have to look forward to for the next 20 minutes.
Right.
That's an over exaggeration, but it's kind of, I feel almost how someone could come away from it perceiving it as a detriment.
It would be one thing if it was a scary, a genuinely scary scene that was stretched out and drawn out, because that would be tension building right in front of you. But this is slow scenes where characters are eating at a dinner table and it's just a long shot of that, or panning around the table showing the characters, but not really bringing anything else to the story, tension or otherwise.
And I think that's kind of what I was getting at before, where like this isn't a scary movie, really. It's disturbing and uncomfortable for sure, but there's nothing that's like there to break up the tension. It's just like all tension,
right,
until the very end. There's no real release, which is kind of your hallmark
until
of a
like
horror
the last
movie.
5 minutes
I
of the
wouldn't
movie.
even say that. Honestly, I would say like the movie leaves you much like Hereditary. I feel the movie leaves you feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, you don't really even get a sense of like satisfaction from
there's
the
no
end.
denouement or like real closure to the story.
Right.
It's almost like that we've just witnessed the preamble.
It's just
and
the
then
beginning
the real
of the story.
starts at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to sound really unflattering to some people, but I feel like the movie does a really good job on like composition and like in tension building,
right,
and just in general like world building too. Ari Aster has gone into such great detail with this like commune and stuff
about how it works and everything like that,
and the quote unquote lore of it. It's interesting, but it's only going to appeal to some people.
Right.
Like I can't sit here and readily recommend Midsummer to everyone.
Right. It's for the people.
You really have to have some sort of appreciation of composition, like narrative, like not narrative structure, but like narrative cohesion, if that makes sense. Like the outer building instead of the inner building.
The way that stories are told, not what the story is.
Exactly.
So someone who appreciated Friday the 13th, 2009 may not necessarily appreciate Midsummer.
Right. And that's not to say like if you don't like Midsummer, you're dumb.
Yeah.
It just means you have different sensibilities.
Yeah. It's a different kind of horror film. It's not The Nun. It's not The Conjuring.
Again, I'm very hesitant to even call it a horror movie.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just like an exercise in disturbia.
I would say that, and this is a very big generalization because they're two totally different. They try to tell two totally different stories, with different results. But Joker is closer towards Midsummer than it is Dark Knight or anything else, really. It's more of a film that makes you uncomfortable. Films that make you uncomfortable is its own genre.
Right.
It's very hard to do. It's very hard to make, but and they're very few and far between because people generally don't know how to structure a story this way, in the generalist sense of terms. But when it comes to trying to make a shocking story, it's all about trying to make something that a lot of people can make your audience uncomfortable, and not just go, "What the hell is that?" Or why is this happening?
With your surprise.
Yeah. It was just the only thing that bothered me were the really slow moments that took in the moments where I nodded off and I woke up, I'm like, did any time pass at all or anything?
Borderline meander, and I feel like that.
It's 2.5 hours long.
That sense of like, did any time pass, is also lent to the fact that all of it is in the daytime.
Yeah,
except the very beginning, and also to
its benefit, I guess.
This movie's a little weird in that the most shocking scene is the beginning.
Yeah.
That the kind of setup for why our main heroine, Danny, feels the way that, or acts the way that she does in the preceding moments.
Right.
That's more terrifying than the rest of the movie.
Because it lends ground to how her character and how technically you as an audience member would react if you were in the same situation.
Right, yeah. Well, and just the visuals too. I feel like that is, aside from the dream sequence that I had previously said, that's the only time where it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some credence to horror movies being at night. I know that might feel like kind of a simplification of the genre, but you can conceal so much and build so much tension. Like, there is a natural
fear in darkness.
Fear of darkness.
Yeah.
And
I'll say it on this podcast. recording it that I have a general fear of just total darkness. And I for most fears, when it comes to like, oh, I'm scared of spiders, or I'm scared of like needles or clowns or whatever, phobias.
Yeah.
I think that as legitimate fear goes, total darkness is as legitimate as it comes.
It makes sense,
The unknown.
Like, what's the word? Where we've adapted, I guess, genetically.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
right.
I'm
in there.
We've
in that
adapted
headspace
as a species from a certain point,
mm-hmm.
and at the very beginning, darkness is a legitimate reason to be afraid. So there's like a primal.
Primal. There we go. Yeah.
There's a primal reason to be distrusting.
Yeah,
I guess
I would say that.
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the main reasons why horror movies have prevailed so well in darkness. Not to mention, earlier films were filmed in black and white, so there was literally just two colors.
That's like the contrast.
Contrasts, of course. But even more recent films, like try to think of a more recent film where they use darkness to its perfection.
Insidious is actually really good about that.
I was gonna say that was in my
when they go into like the dreamscape area. And it's like
Insidious and
black.
Insidious too.
Yeah. It's almost all pitch black, and then they have like those splashes of color, like when they come upon
in the further moments.
Further. That's what I'm thinking. Of. Yeah. They come upon the demon, and there's like that red that kind of like stands out.
Yeah. I found that song really well placed and unnerving in that movie. I love the Insidious one.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. James Wan knows what he's doing.
But yeah, so Midsummer I really enjoyed. I was sad to have you have to experience it the way you did, but
it was my own fault. It's my own body's fault trying to adjust to the pollen in the air.
And again, I will say I can't sit here and honestly recommend it to everyone.
It's a hard watch.
It is, and I'm kind of in the middle. Much like I was with Hereditary, like I can see the benefits, like the pros and the cons. They're there for me. But I think for most people, you're either gonna love it or hate it.
Ari Aster, and I'm probably butchering his name, but he's definitely creating his own corner of the horror film industry in the way that he creates his films.
Yeah. They're like if they're a different option for people who want something a little off from the norm. They don't want just
jump scares every 5 seconds.
And there's nothing wrong with jump scares. Or it's even different from
Past Zach begs to differ.
I have a problem with movies that overly rely on jump scares.
I agree.
But I will say that like Ari Aster's record is in difference to even just the movies that don't rely on jump scares. Like, I wouldn't compare Midsummer or Hereditary to The Conjuring, or even Insidious.
No, yeah.
They're vastly different movies.
Right.
Both of the
art house horror
of Conjuring and Insidious do have jump scares, but I feel like they're composed in such a way where that's not the only thing there, like The Nun. Nick, what did you watch?
I kept watching the same shows that we've mentioned several weeks in a row.
Did you watch anything that was not part of our theme for the week?
I did.
Okay.
I made sure that I did because I knew we would have the segment. Midsummer, yeah. I don't count that as a watch because, again, I was asleep for half of it. And that was your thing. I went and saw. I turned on Netflix, looked for something new, something horror related. Thank you. It was a very tough ordeal.
It is tough.
Had to hit one button. Power button, then the Netflix button. 2 buttons. I had to sign in, so I had to hit the OK button.
Man.
It's too many buttons. I saw In the Tall Grass, which when you see the poster for it or like the preview window thing for it, I'm doing quotation bunny marks. It's just a picture of like grass, and it's like in the tall grass in red font, and you're like, oh, so cool grass, or whatever.
Can I ask you a question, Nick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you go any further.
Fucking sure.
How tall was the grass?
It was pretty damn tall. How tall is Patrick Wilson? Alexa, how tall is Patrick Wilson? He's pretty tall. Why would I care about how tall Jason Momoa is?
A really strange.
Stop. No, stop.
6'3".
He's tall.
That's how tall Jason Momoa is.
Now we know. Thanks, Amazon. Fucker. Patrick Wilson is 6 feet tall. It was several feet taller than Patrick Wilson, who stars in this film.
It's not several feet, it's several inches tall.
No, it's several feet.
The grass was.
It's tall. Okay. It's tall grass. So this is a this is a Netflix film. When Netflix has some sort of weird hard-on for Stephen King, it's a short story written by Stephen King and his son, who writes under the pseudonym Joe Hill. They wrote the short story a little while back. I didn't research.
Ratu.
I think that was
Joe
no.
Hill.
They both combined on that one as well. They collaborate a lot, as father and son do. But this was a short story that they worked on, and it's basically, the premise is this. You got a pregnant woman and her, you later find out a few minutes later that it's her brother, driving cross-country to a unknown destination until they stop at stop by the side of the road so that she can puke because morning sickness, etc.
Oh, she's pregnant. Okay.
Did
you say she's pregnant?
Yes, she's very pregnant. She's 8 months, and you discover that almost immediately.
Okay.
She stops by the side of the road to throw up. She hears a voice. It's a young boy. Help me! I've been stuck in this tall grass for days. Oh no! I'm Mickey Mouse.
It's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's Mickey Mouse that's stuck in the grass. So they're like, "Help! We definitely need to help out Mickey Mouse." So
why wouldn't we?
Disney America's icon, really. What will Walt Disney do? So they're like, let's go help him. So they go into the grass and they're trying to find him.
So much grass here.
And then all of a sudden, they are like, wait, where are each other? Where's my brother? Where's my pregnant sister? They lose each other. And then they try to jump up, above the grass like most people would whenever they try to find each other.
It's too tall. They can't see.
It's too tall. It's tall grass.
Yeah.
You need to understand this, Zach. It's very tall grass.
It's very tall.
It's uncomfortably tall grass.
Okay. It sounds like Ari Aster directed this sort of thing.
Well, I'll tell you who directed it, and you're going to be like, really? Come on. I actually mentioned it before the podcast, before we started recording. I didn't mention the director, but there was a correlation between the movie I mentioned and the director.
Oh.
Let me get a little bit further along. I won't go scene by scene. But they eventually lose each other, and then they find other people that are stuck in the grass, a family, led by Patrick Wilson. And then there's another person who's trying to find the pregnant woman and her brother, and they're related tangentially through stories outside of the grass, obviously, because there's a world outside the grass. And then
that's the sequel, The World Outside.
The World Outside the Grass.
It's like a dystopian teen novel.
It very much sounds like a sci-fi original series set in the 400.
The World Outside the Grass.
I know. Yeah, I can picture the cover of that book. There's a small group of characters. You're trying to figure out what kind of genre this is, what kind of horror film this is, because if you watch the preview before you click play, you're like, okay, this is a horror movie. What's going on? Who's killing who?
Grass is killing everyone.
That was my biggest fear when I first started.
It's like The Happening.
You would think, but there's some twists and turns. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. People die, but then they come back because there's a twist.
Twisty twist.
And then there's also another twist that there's an explanation to why the tall grass is mysterious and why people keep losing each other. And I actually enjoyed myself.
Oh, well, that's good.
Don't be so patronizing. I can enjoy films.
I wasn't patronizing. I was saying that's good that you enjoyed yourself. I'm glad you didn't fall asleep.
I'm awake for most films, Zach.
Oh no, it seemed like you're popping Benadryl.
It was for the one movie where we went over to your place, and I was sniffing all the way through the podcast. I didn't want to sniff all the way. I don't want to sneeze all over your apartment.
That's very polite.
You're welcome.
Thank you for not sneezing everywhere.
You're welcome.
They have a technique when you sneeze. It's like the vampire.
You're doing the vampire thing.
Vampire.
Sneeze in the elbow.
In the elbow.
Trust me, it would be too much snot to do in the elbow.
But you'd rather sneeze all over my apartment?
I would much rather sneeze all over your apartment.
Sneeze in your elbow?
No.
You disgusting freak.
No, I like my elbow clean and pristine.
Well, that's how I feel about my apartment.
Too bad.
Oh.
That's why I took the Benadryl. This episode is not brought to you by Benadryl, by the way, or any store brand allergy medication. Anyway, in the tall grass.
It's brought to you by grass.
It's brought to you by grass. Not that kind of grass. It's a very enjoyable film as long as you take it the premise of it like as kind of a Twilight Zone-esque type of premise. Like it's very like tall grass. How is this horrifying? And then you get about 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, okay, I could see it. I would be terrified in this tall grass. Same as a cornfield. Same as a maze or similar type of...
Like Children of the Corn, but if you actually spent time...
But no children, just corn.
Yeah.
Just corn,
oh God,
the movie.
It's a vegetable, but it's not actually very good for you.
Oh, I can't digest it. So that. I liked it. The only actor I recognized it was Patrick Wilson, as I mentioned before. But guess who directed it?
Stephen King.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think he directs much anymore. I think he's just into writing and sitting back in his chair, drinking iced tea, and commenting on the local youth.
That sounds nice.
I mean, I would love that life.
Who directed it?
Vincenzo Natali, who is known for... You don't know who this is. He directed The Cube.
Oh, you're right.
Or just Cube.
We did have this conversation before.
We had this conversation before, and it reminded me a lot of Cube. Like, when I was watching, I was like, this is just Cube, but in grass. Like, they can't find each other, then they find each other in separate parts of the grass. Then they make reference to, like, because dead things... The grass doesn't move dead things. So when a thing dies, it doesn't move.
Stays there.
So it's like a landmark. So that's kind of a hint. So there's a dog that dies.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this would show up on doesthedogdie.com.
Yes.
Yes, it does die.
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, that's the reason why Casey won't watch any John Wick movies past the first one, right?
Because a dog dies?
She'll never watch the first one again either, because the dog dies.
A dog doesn't die in Chapter 3.
A dog doesn't die in Chapter 2, does it? Oh, alright, well.
No, I don't think it does, actually. The one that he gets after, at the end of
I
one.
don't think it does.
I don't think it does. Yeah. But you don't see it again.
Which I've said this to her, but she will not trust the John Wick franchise.
Well... She's missing out on some great gun foo.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I highly recommend it if you're looking for a good horror movie. It's about hour 40 minutes.
Not bad.
It's not bad. Typical length.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good times.
Good. So,
you want to get into the main topic?
Let's get into our spooky theme this week.
Boo!
Boo!
You're really bad at this.
Boo! What's our theme this week?
Our theme this week is zombies, the ghouls,
Zambinos.
the undead.
Yeah.
Crunch, munch,
Grinch.
nim, 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 nim. Grinch?
Yeah. You're a Grinch.
No, I was a zombie.
Oh.
The Grinch never makes those noises. You're 2 months too early, my friend.
Jim Carrey.
He never made that noise.
Some noises.
No. Our theme this week is zombies. So, should we start with me or should we start with you?
Let's keep you.
I don't think you should start with me.
Oh, okay.
How many movies did you watch this week?
I watched one.
You watched one?
I watched one.
I watched 6.
Shit.
Yeah. I fucking outdid you, you motherfucker.
God damn.
I did it.
You've been holding on to this since 80s week.
I did this because of last week specifically. But yes. To kind of dig at you. But also because I had a whole playlist of movies in mind. Like movies I hadn't seen, but that I was interested in seeing that were zombie related. Had zombies in them, obviously. But then I was like, wait a second.
Oh.
There was one movie in particular I haven't seen in a series of movies that I have seen. So I feel like maybe I should just start from the beginning, go all the way up until the end,
okay, so
and then climax with the end of the final chapter.
They're all kind of in the same franchise. Then.
They're all in the same franchise.
Gotcha.
So I did stick with the theme.
So it'll just be a larger review with minor ones in between.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and start with me since
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking weirdo.
Hey, listen, I don't think you understand how dedicated I was to this whole shtick. All
Yeah,
right, I literally
you
finished
are-
the last one this morning.
Yeah, this is a very passive aggressive, I have to say.
I've been working. I've got a lot of pent up energy and a lot of exciting thoughts about this franchise. And listen.
Oh.
I worked 55 hours this week, which for most people who are like, "Oh, I work 70 hours this week. I work 70 hours every week. I work way too much."
Yeah, that sounded real.
Yeah, most people sound like droopy.
Yeah. Or that guy who asks for a hamburger every day.
Yeah, I
from
was like,
Popeye.
that's droopy.
Oh.
Yeah, hamburger a day,
There
the
you go.
other day.
I don't know the Popeye lore, man.
That's not Popeye. That's Droopy.
You
he's
just
the
said
dog.
Popeye.
No.
Oh, you mean the dog.
Droopy the dog.
Well, why did you say when I said, or the guy that sounds like the guy who asked for a hamburger every time?
Hamburger a day.
And, yeah,
Makes the doctor go away.
I'll pay you for a hamburger today. Oh, wait, no.
That's fucking Jughead?
No, that's Archie. Jesus. I don't know who the guy in Popeye is who likes hamburgers.
Quick aside. Like, we went into the theme, but I watched the latest Riverdale because Riverdale season 4 started.
Yeah, they did that goodbye
They did the
episode.
tribute goodbye episode to Luke Perry. Can I tell you about how much I fucking cried in that episode?
You can.
I cried a lot.
That's a lot.
Like, no, I was bawling. The last time I cried that much was when I saw Fury Road, and I was like, this is the greatest movie of all time. Not kidding. I'm totally serious.
I know you are.
I came out of the movie theater crying, and the person I saw it with was like, why are you crying? I was like, because that's cinema incarnate. Okay, I didn't say that, but I was crying when I came out of the
quick on the draw if you said that.
It's cinema incarnate, right? That's the
You
greatest
should
thing I've
get a
ever seen in
job,
my entire
man.
life, all right? Yeah, fucking Riverdale, man. That's a good show. As long as you realize that it's campy and bullshit.
We've already discussed why I don't like Riverdale.
Fine. Let's move on to the
I'm
topic,
glad
I guess.
you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's more fun when you watch it with people and laugh at all
But
the
you
stupid
watched it
dialogue.
on your own, didn't you?
Let's not talk about Riverdale. Let's talk about the topic. What did you watch?
I watched Overlord.
Interesting. I just watched this for the first time like a month ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, would you qualify this as a zombie movie?
That's my issue.
Because it's like 10% of the movie.
Kind of there, right?
I'll give it to you.
This was part of my criticism of it.
Okay.
I went into it thinking this is a zombie movie. I'm going to see some Zambinos.
Sure, that's what they're called.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a whole lot of Zambinos.
It's an interesting mix-up. I understand what they were trying to get. Like they had the synopsis for the movie. They're like, well, Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
But
essentially, this very small unit of U.S. troops who were flying into Normandy on the eve of D-Day.
Right. Project Overlord.
They get shot down, and they have to continue their mission to reach a church where there's a radio jamming signal at the top of the church.
Well, that seems like a simple enough mission on Call of Duty World War II.
It does. Yeah, except if you're playing on Veteran and you die in 2 shots.
Oh, damn it.
They got to get to the church, which, of course, is not as easy as it sounds. And eventually they come upon a small town,
girl.
French town girl.
Just we, small town girl. I don't know much French. Sure.
Right,
I'm sorry. Let's move on.
And one thing leads to another. They uncover a plot by the Nazis in which they're injecting some sort of serum into dead bodies that kind of reanimates them.
Very interesting.
It is too bad that is like 10% of the movie.
Yeah, the horror, like the actual sci-fi-ness of it is very small when it comes to the portion of the movie.
I want to give it its props because it's shot very well. The producer is J.J. Abrams, which really doesn't mean anything.
It's a bad robot. People, for the longest time before the movie came out, thought it was going to be another Cloverfield movie set in World War II.
The director is Julius Avery, which, if you don't know who that is, that's because he's done 5 movies.
List one or two.
His most prominent being Overlord.
Oh.
It's Overlord,
Overload,
Overlord, Son of a Gun, Jerry Can, Yardbird, and End of Town, which doesn't even have a picture.
I do not know any of those. I feel like those were probably smaller projects.
Ewan McGregor was in Son of a Gun.
Maybe I've seen that.
It was 2014.
No, probably not.
So, it's made very well. When it opens up, they're in this plane and they're flying in, and it's very tense. There's mortar cannons going off all around them, and like they're kind of getting hit, but then people are starting to freak out because
establishing the characters.
They're all like new rookie, they're just out of basic essentially. Yeah. And I feel like that's a really good opening.
Oh yeah.
And after that, I was expecting, all right, you've landed on the ground. Go to the zombie area.
Yeah.
They didn't. They went to a town and did more Nazi stuff.
After they saw the rest of their squad getting wiped out.
They met a girl and they went to her house. She has a sick aunt.
There's more. So I understand where you're trying to get. You seem very frustrated.
I am. This is like the epitome of blue balls, I feel like.
It's a war film more than it is a zombie film.
It's a war film with a genre twist.
Yeah.
However, it was advertised as a genre film. So I went in thinking this is going to be a zombie stuff. And when it's really frustrating because it gets to a point where it's like, okay, there's the zombie stuff right there. Like, there's a head with its spinal cord still attached,
right?
But it's still talking, Like, that's really shocking. That's really cool. And he's in the base with all the zombie stuff going on. But leave that place. Don't stay there for too long.
That's too scary.
Go back to the house. Go. We don't want to spend too much time there. And it's like, but you were right there. There's always these hints of like, okay, now the genre film starts. And it's almost like it's indecisive.
Right.
Or at least misleading, And maybe that's just on the marketing. But I came away with it feeling like what I wanted from that, I didn't really get.
You didn't get the horror. I mean, you got the horror
gruesome.
of war.
There's a lot of gruesome stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I did get that, but I wanted more. Because that's what was advertised to me. I was told I was going to get some zombie action with Nazis. And instead I got Nazi action with zombies. Wait, did I say that right?
I'm going to let you think about it.
I was expecting zombie action with Nazis, but I got Nazi action with zombies. Oh, man.
Is that two totally different things? Or is it the same thing?
Like in terms of like priority.
Right.
The war movie is put up above the zombie movie, as opposed to what I was expecting, where the zombie movie is above the war movie.
Can I actually recommend a good World War II film that it doesn't stick with a theme, but it
has some like paranormal.
Yeah, it has paranormal. It has werewolves in it, not zombies necessarily. Okay, yeah. But it would give you the satisfaction that you required from Overlord.
Well, I like werewolves, so lay it on me.
Do you like satisfaction?
I do.
Just answer the question, Zach.
I do like Rolling Stones.
It'll give you satisfaction. That's not it. I know. No, copyright. Copyright. I don't want to sound too similar.
Okay, of course.
It's a film called Dog Soldiers. Came out in 2002. It's actually directed by... Please tell me you've seen this film. Because today, the whole span of today, you were telling me films that you haven't seen. Neil Marshall.
Remind me.
The Descent.
I have seen The Descent. Yes.
He directed this before The Descent.
Oh, I see.
But it stars Sean Pertwee, who was Alfred in the Gotham series. Oh. Liam Cunningham, who is Davos Seaworth in Game of Thrones. Yep. And Kevin McKidd, who is in a whole bunch of stuff. He was in the Call of Duty games playing Soap. He was in Grey's Anatomy as Owen Hunt. Anna Karenina in Roman. So, I mean, it's a World War II film, but like the Nazis are, spoiler alert, some of them are werewolves.
Oh, well, that's what I wasn't expecting Nazi zombies in this, but I was expecting more
Some
zombies from the Nazis in this. So,
right.
I don't know. I think it's a very well made, on the whole, film. I just feel like it has some fairly general pacing issues, in which it cannot commit to what tone it wants to be. And so it keeps flip-flopping between the two that it picks.
The sci-fi and the actual
And
war.
just the war. I did like it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a frustrating movie. I wanted more.
Would you recommend it first on a general level and then second on a I guess just on a general level? That's fine. Would you recommend it to someone as like a good popcorn movie?
Yeah,
or?
it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
Right? I just came into it with expectations that were not met. So, again, that might be on the marketing, but I'm still coming away with it feeling like I didn't get what I was expecting.
Except for like a small bit of it.
In kind of a negative form.
Right.
Anyway, how was your watch binge, your marathon?
I want to talk about zombie movies. I watch movies that are so undead. It makes you think like, oh, Grandma, you're alive again. No, she's been dead for years. Oh. She died of... can you die of gout? Sure. Yeah. Died of gout.
Yeah.
Or she choked on a Cheerio. Whatever. Grandma died.
Wow, that's a really small throat.
Some of us have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, Zach.
Okay, you have a small throat.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Quick, hug me. We're not actually...
He does not want me to hug him.
Don't actually hug me. I watched... You're going to hate me. I watched the Resident Evil film series.
Oh, fuck.
I want to tell you how drastic the quality of these films are.
Why?
Because, trust me, just be glad that we're not sticking specifically with a vampire series, because
like,
I will do the Underworld series.
I come in here and you're like,
me.
I watched a long-spanning series of like zombie movies. And then
you were expecting Of the Dead series.
Yeah, you even told me a movie that you started watching but didn't finish, so then you're like, oh yeah, I watched the whole series. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm expecting Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
That kind of Dawn of the Dead.
How fucking vanilla of me would it be? I don't know where the sentence is going. How generic do you think I am?
Well, considering you were the one that requested the zombie theme for the week,
thought I would actually go with something good?
I thought you would go with something you enjoyed.
Can I tell you? Can I be honest with you?
Don't tell me.
No. So after having watched all 6 of the Resident Evil zombie films, that's not what they're called, just the Resident Evil franchise, and comparing them to other zombie film franchises, of which I can only think of 2 others.
Ill repute.
So the George A. Romero film series of zombie films, Night of the Living Dead, got Dawn of the Dead, got Day of the Dead, got Land of the Dead, you got Diary of the Dead, which...
There's some secrets in there you don't want to know.
Yeah, so even if you're just going with the George A. Romero directed, so you end with Day.
Well, he only did so many of those, didn't he?
He directed... No, wait, did he direct Diary of the Dead?
I know he dropped off for
Land.
2. Yeah.
He did Dawn and Day. Anyway, they all vary in quality, all right? Good zombie films are rarer than... What's a rare thing? Good love.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm going deep.
You're talking about like a deep human connection.
I am.
Like steak. If you get a steak that's more than
if you can get some good love from a steak, then you live your life. What you do with that steak, how you consume it, or how you love it, you live your life. I'm not going to judge. I'm not saying fuck a steak, Zach. Don't look at me like that.
Sounds like you're saying fuck a steak.
You could do it. Like I said, you do. Anyway, a Resident Evil film series. I started with Resident Evil. I'm going to go very briskly through.
Yes, please.
Because there's 6 of them, and we're running out of time. when it comes to our reviews. Resident Evil 2002, first one. Not bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
Not terrible, but if you compare it to even a semi-decent horror film from today, it's got some dated CGI to it. 2002, not bad.
Measure it up with Underworld, and you're like,
I would say Underworld 1 is better. Even though all of it's blue, even though all of it's just like
very blue.
There's a lot of connections between the Underworld series and the Resident Evil series.
Doing all those flips through the lasers.
Same thing with Kate Beckinsale. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather hang out with Kate Beckinsale. Resident Evil 1. Great zombie effects. A lot of practical effects when they could do it. I think it was a budget of $33 million. Going off the top of my head, I researched it earlier yesterday. Not bad. Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse. Makeup effects. No, listen. Makeup effects on Nemesis
are abysmal.
No, fantastic.
It's a rubber suit, man.
It's a rubber suit, but guess what? It's better than a CGI Nemesis, man. The stuntman who had to wear the Nemesis suit, it was 60 pounds on that guy's fucking...
I understand.
You carry around 60 pounds on your back.
It's a poorly made suit.
It is a poorly made suit.
You
2004.
can see the rubber on it.
2004. Hey.
I don't care.
Hey. Practical effects in that movie aren't that bad.
Fucking classic Universal monster movies look better than that shit.
You're getting a lot of CGI in this movie, a lot more than the first film. By the way, Red Queen in the first film, abysmal looking. But let me get back to the Red Queen, because she gets worse. Resident Evil Apocalypse. How many of the Resident Evil movies have you seen, by the way?
I saw 1 and 2, and then I tried to watch Apocalypse, and I got about 20 minutes in and fell asleep.
Apocalypse is 2.
No. Oh, wait.
It is.
Armageddon. Wait.
Nope. Extinction is the third one.
Extinction. I got
desert
through
one.
Extinction about 20 minutes in, and I fell asleep because I was bored as shit.
In the movie theater?
No, at home.
At home, okay.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Apocalypse, 2004. A lot more CG, but that's because it's set in an urban city setting. A lot more extras going on.
These movies are very, very minorly connected to the video games.
Oh yeah, it's only face value connections. Let me get to those real quick. It's the characters and the settings and certain things. In fact, I think Resident Evil 2 on the whole is probably the closest connected to the video games, just in setting and characters.
Show up eventually, though.
I'll get to him.
Extinction.
Resident Evil 3 Extinction is the furthest away from the movies, except for the final one. The whole world is turned into a desert. Zombie crows. She sets them on fire with a flamethrower. Pretty cool effect. I'm not going to lie. There's some cool shots in these movies. There's like one cool shot per movie. And
it's a good thing to base your series on.
One cool shot?
Yeah.
Sure. All of these movies are based on how cool can we make this without making them any...
only once and no more.
Because the dialogue is very bad. In every single movie, consistently, it's bad. Resident Evil 3, pretty cool. All desert. You get the Tyrant at the end of it, played by Ian Glenn of Game of Thrones fame. He's really good in it. He plays a very evil Dr. Isaacs, who they named after Jason Isaacs, who's a close friend to Paul W.S. Anderson, who's the director of most of these films. He directed the first, 4th, 5th, and 6th films.
How much of a crime is it to have a director like Paul W.S. Anderson get confused all the time
with Paul
Anderson?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
And then, because one guy has won several Academy Awards, and the other one has directed a lot of video game movies.
When someone comes up to an unsuspecting...
Do you think the guy who directed The Master directed fucking Event Horizon?
But that's what I'm saying, like someone unknowing is approached and they're told like, hey, there's this Paul W.S. Anderson movie that just came out and you want to go see it? And they're thinking like, oh yeah, I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
I love There Will Be Blood. This will be great.
Yeah.
That's what the whole point of middle names is for. There's Danny McBride, the actor, right?
Yeah. And
then there's a Danny T. McBride, who's a producer in films. It's all about I mean, like, look, if I ever went into the industry,
Then
I would have
Danny
to be
Boyle.
Danny. That's a different last name. Zach, stick with me. Come on, I'm running here. I'm sprinting. If I ever joined the industry, I would have to probably do Nick G. Simmons because of the younger actor to Gene's, or not younger actor, the son to Gene Simmons, who shares my namesake, was in a TV show. So if I joined the SAG, Screen Actors Guild, then I would probably have to use my middle initial.
Nick G. Simmons sounds distinguished.
Nick G.
Yeah.
Like Mick G. But that's just dumb because he makes his producer name, whatever, McG, and that's it. That's stupid.
It's like a McDonald's meal.
That's Mickey D's, though. That's not Mick D.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a meal. Hey, here's the McD.
No one says that.
Here's the McDonald's dick.
Resident Evil Afterlife, the first film in the series to be in 3D.
Great.
It's you want to know how the series?
It was all post, right?
No, the first film was filmed in 3D. Actually, the fourth. I'm sorry. Let me slow down a little bit. Take a break. The fourth and fifth films were filmed in 3D, using the same camera system, I believe, as James Cameron in Avatar. And Paul W.S. Anderson was inspired by Avatar to film these films, and they came out like a couple months after. Afterlife is by far the drop. It's the worst one to me, having watched all 6 of these in a week span. Mainly because it goes from her having like some psychic powers in Extinction. By the way, main character Alice has psychic powers after a certain point. Mila Jovovich. Sorry, I'm not describing any of the characters. Claire Redfield from the Resident Evil games shows up in Extinction, played by Allie Larder of Final Destination fame. In the fourth movie, Afterlife, she comes out, and at the beginning of the movie, she's like, I'm a ninja. I'm going to fucking start, like, slow motion dodging bullets. They do the same effect as the Matrix. She's dodging them, throwing shuriken, which are ninja stars, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about that culture. Throwing swords, killing people. She's basically a superhero. A lot of CG-ness. CG fucking garbage in this. It's hard to watch Afterlife, the fourth film. They bring in... Oh, God. Was this the fourth and fifth one are back-to-back, and they confuse me. I believe Albert Wesker in the games is introduced, and Chris. And Claire doesn't come back until the sequel. No, she's in this one. No, I'm sorry. Chris is in the fifth film. Claire comes back for this one because Alice is trying to find them in Alaska because there's a secret boat that's supposed to be like safe haven. But then she stops at a prison just outside the boat, and there's a whole bunch of zombies. And then this came out around the same time as the fifth game, so they introduce zombies from the fifth game, which aren't the same zombies as the other ones. So you have the giant axe executioner man, who they just call Axeman in this movie. And there's the slow motion fight that is longer than the entire film of 300.
They have the same cultural insensitivity that was present in the Resident Evil 5 game.
No, it's because you can't really tell the ethnicity of the giant zombie monster. It's just bad. The slow motion is it takes fucking forever. I was nodding off, and it was in the middle of the day watching this. Garbage film. Ends on a cliffhanger. They're on a boat. They save 2,000 people from being captured by Wesker. You think Wesker's dead. But then a whole bunch of Umbrella ships show up, and then Jill Valentine, who was in Resident Evil Apocalypse 2, she comes back, but now she's evil. And the fifth film starts, and it's immediately after, like 5 seconds after, they're blowing up the ship, killing all of the people they just saved, like over 2,000 people, capture everyone, all of the actors that didn't want to get paid $5 for being in this movie, so they're just gone, except for one of them who shows up in the final film. Alice gets captured, and so the entire fifth film is in an underground secret facility where they stage zombie infections to see how it would go and see how it would pan out and everything. And so you get Barry Burton from the games, you get Leon from the games, who's played by a German actor who had to get dubbed over. You get Ada Wong from the games who shows up, and played by Li Bingbing, who's very famous in China. All of her lines had to get dubbed over. And then Luther, who was from the previous film, who's a love interest to Alice. And then you had characters come back from the first film who were clones of those characters, and they're evil now, and they're being followed by what's her name? Jessica. That's not her name. Fucking Jill Valentine, who's still evil, has the spider thing on her chest from Resident Evil 5. So like we have to kill everybody because they're trying to save the world. So it's just the fifth film was even harder to watch than the fourth film. But I was just trying to enjoy the video game characters. Which, by the way, this is just. It's video game characters. This is reference the movie.
It was in response to the criticism up to that point that they had derailed so wildly from the source material.
But here's the thing. The characters that they bring into this movie, that they're like, hey, remember these characters from the games? This is Capcom movie. Leon, Ada, they know each other. In fact, they don't specifically reference Resident Evil 3. Are they in 2? Is it 2? Yes, it's 2. Thank you. 2 and 3, I confuse. Yeah. They don't reference Resident Evil 2, the game, but they know each other like they've known each other since Resident Evil 2, since Raccoon City. And there's a whole hand on Ada's leg that Leon puts, and she like brushes it off like, whatever. And then you never see these characters again. And by the way, there's a theme song for Resident Evil 5.
Oh, tell me what it is.
It's like, do you remember the Bourne movies where it's like, it's the Moby song? It's that over and over again. I'll play it after we record. And it's the same theme played over and over again, but like in 6 different ways. And it's very annoying, especially because there's a final battle between Jill Valentine and Alice and Michelle Rodriguez, who's in Fast and Furious. Everybody knows her. She was in the first film. Died horribly, but she was the best character in the first film. She comes back as an evil clone. Then she becomes superpowered with the Lost Plagas parasite, which doesn't give you superpowers in the video games. It just makes you another zombie. But no, this regenerates you in the fifth film into where you're unkillable. So she shoots the ice underneath her. This is in Siberia, by the way, after they get out from the underground facility. Shoots out the ice. Zombies pull her down like that scene in Harry Potter 6. Yeah. Or 4. I guess, with the mermaids. Anyway, Harry Potter, much better series. And then they remove the spider from the thing. Jill Valentine is back to normal. Never see her again. By the way, Alice finds a daughter who's actually a clone from one of her clones. And then you never see the daughter again. Because after this film, she passes out because she's almost dead. And then you wake up, and it's the final film. And the world is all fucking exploded and done, and not necessarily a desert from the third film, but like everybody still survives, but there's really only 4,000 people still alive on the planet, and Umbrella is still taking over the whole planet. And by the way, Dr. Isaacs from the third film, back and alive, totally alive.
All that stuff he did was completely pointless.
Yes, and Wesker, which by the way in the fifth film, betrays Umbrella and says, hey, this is the final battle. Only a few humans are alive. Let me give you your powers back because I took them away in the fourth film. Sorry, I'm skipping a lot of details. Gives them back, but then ends up in between the fifth and sixth film betraying them and killing everyone. They were at the White House when this happens, towards the climax. Yeah. Cuts the credits. Sixth film, you betrayed me, Wesker. So Wesker, Dr. Isaacs, and now the Red Queen, who's played by... Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich, who are married in real life. Their daughter plays the Red Queen in the sixth film. Who's amazing, by the way. Had to learn more dialogue.
Really has a place in business.
I mean, when it's your kid who's like 6 or something.
It's still nepotism.
I agree. Had to learn more dialogue than any other character in the sixth film. The sixth film, while it's a little bit shaky cam, very Terminator Salvation looking, and set design and everything, which post-apocalypse, whatever. We're going long, I'm sorry. Is actually the best shot film and has the best special effects and everything.
It only took them 6 films to get it right.
Yeah, it's 2016 at this point when they released this, whereas the first film was 2012, so 14 years later. A lot of shaky cam, a lot of steady cam footage, but some of the dialogue is still cheesy. But the way that they wrap up the story with her still being a clone of the original, who's the chairman, of Umbrella, and she's trying to stop the world and kill the T-virus once and for all. She does. Spoiler alert. Happy ending. But there's still only like less than 4,000 people on the planet. But they get to repopulate the Earth. Sex is nice. I'm glad that's the one takeaway from that entire large synopsis. Each film is like an hour and a half, except for the final film, which is like an hour 46, a little bit longer. Yeah. Special effects vary from film to film. I still say 4 and 5 are the worst, and 2 has some parts in it that are bad. But I was like, Resident Evil 2 is the closest to the games, like Resident Evil 2 the game and Resident Evil 3 the game. To where I was like, this is still fun in an urban setting. It's still fun. Plus Nemesis, stars, that kind of thing. So I know this is video game movies before they're zombie movies, but there's still zombies in them, and I'm closer than yours. So fuck you, you lose, I win.
I'm glad you watched 6 shitty.
It was
movies.
totally worth it.
You watched 6 shitty movies to prove me wrong.
I actually think. Shut up. Go to hell, you. I actually enjoyed the first one and the 6th one.
Cool. So you only had to wait 5 movies in between then to get
more than you. You didn't even enjoy yours.
I liked mine. It just wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I appreciated it for what it was. Also, I didn't fall asleep during Midsummer.
Hey, you can't keep doing that. Let's jump into the news.
News time.
News time. Do.
Ding, 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 ding.
Eventually, we'll come up with a theme. I don't know if we'll stick with that.
All right. So starting off, we got a bunch of news for stuff that's premiering.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love premieres. Getting me hot and nipple fresh for the red carpet.
To start off, we'll go soon at like closest to premiering to furthest away.
Okay, so from I'll just say what you said. From nearest premiere date to furthest.
Rick and Morty season 4 is
woo
premiering on
Pickle Rick. Give me my sauce. There's no headphones that can make it as silent as you want it to be.
Rick and Morty season 4 is premiering November 10th.
And that's only 5 episodes.
It is the first 5 episodes, but Justin Roiland has been on record saying that season 4 will be 10 episodes. Yeah. So
it's just split.
It's going to be split.
I'm okay with that.
They've done this before in the past.
Past? I'm gonna do it.
Fuck off.
Before in the past.
They've done this before in the past. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of your
It's
apartment.
my place.
No, I'm commandeering it.
Okay.
So if you like Rick and Morty, there you go. Not too much longer to wait.
It's very soon.
Yeah.
Less than a month.
Yep.
Very cool.
Following that, Dragon Prince Season 3 is dropping on Netflix.
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I haven't watched this, but I hear great things.
So, if you are a fan of Avatar The Last Airbender...
Can I say when it premieres first?
Oh, fine. I thought you had. I'm sorry.
You keep cutting me off before I say when it
I'm sorry. I'm very excited.
Dragon Prince Season 3 is premiering November 22nd.
22nd. Yeah. So, right before Thanksgiving.
Yep. Yeah, you may go.
Okay, thank you.
You're very excited.
You're welcome. So I'm very excited about this because I've stayed up to date with the series. Season 1 being very well done. Season 2 being more world building, but still very well done. I thought a lot of character moments in that I didn't expect. If you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, these were the creators behind those series. I couldn't give you the exact names for them. I'm so sorry. I apologize. But if you're big fans of those series, it's a
there's some dragons.
There's dragons in there is and there isn't.
Oh.
So it's very character driven. It's about 2 young princes who, after a tragic event, need to set out on an adventure with a dark elf, who is normally their enemy, in search of a specific thing. So whereas that seems like a child version of Lord of the Rings. You wouldn't be wrong. It's very high fantasy, but the animation leans itself towards Avatar, whereas it's also the 3D cel-shaded animation of Netflix fame. If you watch the 3D cel-shaded anime that they have premiered on there. First season, I mentioned this to you on the right before the podcast, right before recording. The first season is a bit jittery because of the way that they animated. I feel like they skip like every other frame to make it seem more, I guess, dynamic. But it bothered a lot of people. So season 2 rolls around,
being somewhat of a concern.
Yeah,
the way they animated it.
So season 2 rolls around and they make it a lot smoother and it's a lot
nice,
easier to follow. Love the characters, especially the dark elf that accompanies the 2 young boys. I can't remember the name of the character or the actress. I'm sorry.
Well, you'll be able to refresh your memory.
Season 3.
Come season 3.
Yes, let's continue on. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of the series.
No, you're good.
I'm going to rewatch it.
New miniseries from Ex Machina director and Annihilation.
Yes.
Alex Garland is making a FX show called Devs that will be premiering in spring of 2020.
Okay, you said the premiere date. So I'm gonna.
I did. Yeah,
okay.
You're good.
So, do you have any thoughts about that?
I liked Ex Machina.
Okay.
I've yet to see Annihilation.
So crazy to me. You need to see it immediately.
I'm curious. They didn't specify where on FX this would be premiering. If it's FX Extra, I feel like that's an issue.
What, you feel like it's a censorship or a detriment?
Yeah. As opposed to just FX the channel. Because if it's just FX the channel, then it'll be readily available on other platforms.
Right.
Whereas FX Extra, it's really hard to track down anything that's on there.
I mean,
aside from FX Extra.
Right. I feel like they would put it in the same box, and I know they're going to be 2 totally different shows. Actually, I'll say 3 totally different shows. But I feel like if they can get away with making shows like Legion and Fargo and putting it on their normal FX channel, and those were 2, and not every single scene, but there were moments on both of those shows that are dark and very heavy, and there is gore. Right. I feel like they can get away with it, and I'm assuming gore is going to be involved in this show, even though it's a very mysterious premise. But with Alex Garland,
the premise is kind of like
very vague.
Techno company is controlling things, and
right.
The main character's boyfriend ends up dead, and she's investigating that kind of thing. Star Trek Picard has a premiere date of January 23rd, 2020.
I have it written here as Star Trek Pickard.
Oh, okay. Pickard is premiering on CBS All Access.
Jean-Luc Picard. I'm sorry. CBS All Access. That's great. I feel like they need to. They already have Star Trek Discovery, and I know that a lot of people are excited for Picard. That's totally fine.
I've seen some criticisms
of CBS All.
I think we can be upfront and say that neither of us are the biggest Star Trek buffs.
Right.
Like, I don't have anything against it. I've just never sat down and readily watched it.
I only have the new Star Trek movies under my belt.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them. Even the third one. I thought it was... Okay, easy there. Easy.
Beyond. More like beyond comprehension.
That's not picked up on the mics, so that's on you.
That's fine. Nobody needs to hear it. So those are the big premieres set. But in terms of premieres that have already happened, Walking Dead Season 10 premiered with its lowest live viewing.
Good. I was waiting for this metaphor. Let it die. Let the zombies finally shamble into non-existence.
The showrunner at New York Comic-Con said that it will never die. So
that's
get fucked.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing.
I think he's speaking more of a brand perspective.
And because that's his boss that he's talking about. Listen, they're already going to premiere a 3rd companion series. Wait, it's not the 3rd companion series. It's the 3rd Walking Dead series.
3rd Walking Dead series.
So there's Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and the Endlings.
the youth. That's not what it's called. You said that it had a name last week.
It's like the end of the whatever. The characters' names are
endlings.
Yes, it's got to be in the name.
You would think. But...
Anyway, there's another series that they're going to make, which, by the way, just stop, slow down. Work on other comic properties that are super popular right now.
This is AMC's biggest moneymaker. It's already established. They won't stop until their percentages are too far down. That being said, 34% down, which is still, that's what it was.
A lot.
It's still 4 million people watching. And that's just live.
Yeah.
That's just live viewings. That's not taking into account any other metrics.
Stop watching this, people. I'm sorry. And granted, ever since Jeffrey Dean Morgan has been introduced, the show is... that was a good idea, but that was way too late for me. The show is just... It's just a lot of nothing.
Got more to look forward to.
The comic ended. But
they're
not going to end with the comic, obviously.
I'm telling you, man, they still got the.
How long do you think the series is going to end?
Oh man, what year is it? 2019.
2019, the 10th season.
I'm gonna throw a dart out there. I'm gonna throw it towards.
Don't do that. There's kids out there.
Ugh.
Sorry for your ears. Fuck you, Timmy.
You were too close to the 2029.
You think 10 more years of this?
Still got 10 more years, man. If you take into account production, you still got...
Splitting them, by the way.
Yeah. You still got Fear the Walking Dead and this new youth series. They're going to space that out because they don't want it to run concurrently.
Yeah.
On top of The Walking Dead.
I can see where you're coming from.
On top of the Rick Grimes movies.
Fuck, I forgot about those.
On top of whatever
movies, more than one.
Yeah, they it's at this point we think there's 3.
It's just too much. Like Game of Thrones, dude. I don't even want this prequel series. I'm done with Game of Thrones.
You probably would if the last season was better.
No. Even if it was good, even if it was the greatest season of television of all time.
Sure, we just did discuss that. Definitive endings are really nice.
Yeah, I watched Boardwalk Empire, all 5 seasons, and I was like, that was a great ending. Even if it was a bad ending, I would have been like, okay, I'm done. And I'm done. I don't want to do this every week. Fucking Walking Dead. Move on.
In terms of records that are on the positive side,
yay!
Joker officially broke the October 1st weekend record.
The Clown Prince of Crime!
With a estimated $93.5 million.
Oh, so low!
Yeah.
No, that's really good. Didn't it break the box office record for Venom?
It did, yeah.
It did.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Venom was $80 million. This is $93.5.
Amazing.
When you add that to the total overseas, the grand total is around estimated $234 million
for one weekend. For 1 weekend.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's the pull of the character, but honestly, I'm just glad that a film like this, which it's not a comic book movie, it's not a crime movie, it's very much a mixture of a bunch of different things while explaining a very personal story about a character, makes this much money.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Honestly, I know some people, some studio execs at Warner Brothers are thinking this, but they don't want to tell it to themselves. It's honestly just because of the name of the movie and the character and the end results.
Honestly, I think it's because of that trailer. Both of the trailers were great.
Oh, I agree.
I think that did a lot to pull people in. I got people in my office who don't watch any comic book movies going to see Joker.
Yeah. But, I mean, to be fair, Warner Brothers, DC, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker.
Sure, yeah. That's fair.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's an actor that they know, and it's logos that they notice. Or that they know. That's it.
There's certainly something to it. It definitely worked.
I'm glad, and I hope they make more films like this.
Yeah. Sony may be shopping out their live-action Masters of the Universe.
Oh no, they're running out of money. Quick, sell your stocks. Sony is going under. No, they're fine.
They are fine.
They're very
Especially
fine.
after that Marvel deal.
Ooh, they're so fine.
Yeah, they might be shopping out to Netflix.
So He-Man haven't made an intellectual property outside of She-Ra, Princess of Power.
This movie, this live-action movie, has been in development for, I think, like 12 years at this point.
Yeah, because He-Man Master of the Universe film with Frank Langella playing Skeletor. I think it was like, oh no, wasn't that Dolph Lundgren who was in it?
Uh-huh.
It was like 1985 or in that range, forever ago, back when they could get away with making anything after Conan. You're
Flash Gordon era.
Flash Gordon era. It was the 80s where like let's make sci-fi, let's make fantasy. It was honestly because of Star Wars, late 70s.
Yep.
We're like, let's do all this stuff, and it makes money. Very interested to see what Netflix does with it. They're still thinking about it, right?
Right. They haven't actually done it,
but there's rumors circling around.
But it does make sense because, like you said, they already have She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yeah.
On Netflix, that's the animated show, which has been received really well.
It's actually a really great show.
Kevin Smith is doing his animated He-Man show as well. That's supposed to be premiering on Netflix.
So wouldn't you think that they already have like a good pull? And I guess that's what Sony is seeing.
That's what Sony is thinking.
Yeah.
Like, well, we already have an established brand on Netflix, and it's like this battle between, do we take the quick payout for giving Netflix this property?
Yeah.
So they can distribute it, but we don't really get a whole lot off of views.
Yeah.
Or do we distribute it ourselves and make more off?
Netflix is basically advertising with their shows.
Right. If they distribute it themselves, they could feasibly see more money in the long run because more people are actively giving them money as opposed to Netflix.
Would you, with no people attached to it as of right now, if they make it, would you see a He-Man movie?
Depends on the trailer.
Depends on the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, not the people attached, but the trailer.
No. I'm going to base it on a trailer. Because if...
Hey, I did that with Assassin's Creed. Let's be careful.
Oh, well, I didn't see Assassin's Creed based off that trailer because that trailer looked boring as shit.
It was also the Kanye West music in the trailer.
Yeah. If that Masters of the Universe trailer looks A, great, or B, awful, I'll see it.
You don't care?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my whole question, man.
No,
non-answer.
But if it looks like somewhere in the middle, which is what Creed, Assassin's Creed looked like. Assassin's Creed smacked of this is like
cash in,
drivel, like nothing cool is going on.
Hey, this character is the great grandson of a character that was a side character in one of the games.
Yeah. Then I won't see it because it's I have a limited amount of time on my hands.
Here's the thing, though. I heard really bad things about Assassin's Creed. I still saw it.
Well, that's on you.
Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't great. It's like, but Brendan Gleeson is in it, so like it could be bad. It's bad.
Yaha Abdul Mateen II.
You racist.
I hope I said that right.
You didn't.
I am so sorry if I didn't.
He was
he was Black Manta.
Aquamarine, Aquaman.
Aquamarine.
That's the
different movie.
A very different movie. It's about a lovely teen.
He was cast in the upcoming Matrix 4.
Yes, which is already confirmed. They are working on with Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves.
There's talks of them casting a young Morpheus and a young Neo in Matrix 4.
But Keanu Reeves... Yeah, he's dead.
Well, there's still... Keanu Reeves and, like you said, Carrie-Anne Moss, they're both coming back for Matrix 4.
Right. We don't know what this Matrix is going to be like.
No, we don't.
So this is all rumors and conjecture.
The rumors are that they are casting a young Neo and a young Morpheus. So...
Why? They didn't meet until the first Matrix.
I don't know, man.
This makes no sense.
I'm not a Wachowski sister. I don't know what to tell you.
It makes no sense. No, I just mean rumors like what the people are trying to make stories of with this. It's just like, why can't you just be more fantastical with your theories here? Why can't it just be the Matrix but set like 100 years in the future? And like these the Carrie-Anne Moss / Keanu Reeves characters are projections or programs that are in the new system of the Matrix.
It might be that. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
And isn't the Matrix 4, wouldn't that, like, you automatically assume it's a sequel, but, like, everything is totally fine and there is no Matrix anymore by the end?
Will Smith is developing a Fresh Prince spinoff.
I just love how you moved on. I'm sorry. Here, do that one again.
Will Smith is developing a Fresh Prince spinoff.
Very cool. Did you watch a lot when you were a kid?
I watched some here and there.
I watched bits and pieces of it. I remember enjoying it. I thought he was fantastic in there. I think
I
I
like the Carlton dance.
I don't know the actual music that he used.
He just danced.
He just danced with no music.
Well, he danced to music, but he didn't need music to dance.
Of course.
The Carlton dance is the dance. It's not the dance to music.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add. Like, I think I'm glad Will Smith is coming back and trying to do. I know he's not confirmed with this at all, but like this is all just kind of a rumor at this point. But I know that he'll definitely be involved at least at a producer level.
Original Fresh Prince was on NBC.
Yeah.
So I believe this will be, if it comes to fruition, it'll be a Peacock show.
A Peacock show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't it on NBC?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay, yeah.
I think the original was on NBC.
Right. Universal.
So I think if they do go ahead and do this spinoff, they'll use it as leverage on NBC's streaming platform, Peacock.
Gotcha. I'm interested.
Yeah, we'll see.
Good sitcom.
The Band of Brothers team is developing another World War II show, but this time for Apple Plus.
Did you see if it was the showrunners / creators, or if it was the director?
I will pull it up.
Or the producers?
Right now.
Because technically Steven Spielberg was attached to both of those series. So
I know his company is part of it. I don't know.
Amblin Entertainment?
Yeah. Amblin Television, Tom Hanks.
Very cool.
And Playtone.
That's not a person.
Well, Gary Goatsman.
That's not a name.
They are bringing a limited series to Apple TV Plus. It's apparently based on a book called Masters of the Air, America's Bomber Boys. America's Bomber Boys who fought the air war against Nazi Germany. What the hell? Is that the whole thing? Masters of the Air, America's Bomber Boys who fought the air war against Nazi Germany.
That's the whole title of the thing?
I think that's the whole title.
I think that's a subtitle combined with the main title.
I bet you anything, when they do this, it's either going to be called Masters of the Air or Bomber Boys.
I think it will be called Masters of the Air if they're going to be smart about it, but Bomber Boys sells easier. It does, yeah. And it's also alliterative.
The author was Donald L. Miller.
Gross. No, I don't know that person. I'm very interested in it. I never watched the original Band of Brothers or The Pacific, which are like companion series to each other. It's always been on my watch list. I've been told that they are fantastic, well-acted, well-directed series.
Yeah, same. I haven't indulged, but I've always heard great things.
They're just, it's Saving Private Ryan, the miniseries for both.
David Schwimmer is in one of those.
Yes,
Band of Brothers.
Rami Malek is in it.
Yeah.
Everybody is in these series. It's quite astounding how well put together the cast is. You think about Saving Private Ryan, you think of Thin Red Line, you think of fucking Wind Talkers. The casts in these World War II films are... I'm interested to see who is going to be involved in this new series.
Yeah, because they can always pull in the talent.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, can actually... 1917 is World War I, but I'm excited about that. We talked about it previously. There is a upcoming Roland Emmerich World War II film.
No, don't talk to me about this one.
What? Are you not excited for that?
No.
Why not?
Roland Emmerich.
But that doesn't...
This is the fucking... When this trailer dropped, I was on a forum board, and I went... Because the line was Roland Emmerich, or new Roland Emmerich World War II drama or action trailer drops. And I'm like, are we still pretending Roland Emmerich is a good name draw? And I got fucking piled on for besmirching the.
Oh, you actually commented that?
Yeah. I got piled on for besmirching the good name of our Lord and Savior Roland Emmerich, as if he hasn't made a ton of shitty movies since Independence Day.
So Independence Day, would you say, is the diamond in the rough?
Absolutely. At this point, he has displayed more of a tendency to bad movies, whereas Independence Day was a what do you call it?
Good movies?
Discrepancy, I guess.
I just want to go over his filmography really
I can go over his filmography right now because I had to rebuttal.
Oh. Then fuck me.
10,000 BC.
Never saw it.
Godzilla TriStar.
That's the 1998 Matthew Broderick one.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, bad.
Gene Reno's in that.
2012. Jean Reno, you motherfucking American.
What?
You called him Gene Reno? His name's Jean Reno.
Did I say Gene Reno?
Yeah.
I meant to say Jean Reno. I'm sorry. That's on me. I don't know why I called him Gene Reno. Because I'm again white American guy.
Yeah.
Anonymous, which was the that was the movie about
Direct that, though?
Williams. Yeah. About William Shakespeare maybe not being the author of all this stuff.
Right, yeah.
White House Down. Not terrible. I actually prefer that to the other one.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen. Independence Day Resurgence.
Which was also awful.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Stargate was amazing.
That was before.
So before Independence Day, we can't just talk about films.
I'm saying
before. We have to talk about the ones after.
I'm saying track record.
Since then.
Universal
Soldier was
give
fantastic.
Roland Emmerich any
Patriot
trust. That was like immediately after. That was 2001.
2000. 4 years later.
When was Independence Day? Independence Day.
96.
Okay, the one.
Day After Tomorrow, I appreciated.
It was fine. It was the.
I honestly think it was only Jake Gyllenhaal and Emmy Rossum that made that movie. So, like the whole freezing of the hallway. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I liked it.
Ugh. I'm over.
Are we going to end on Roland Emmerich?
No.
Okay, good.
The last season of Daredevil, Marvel's Netflix's.
Was it last season?
Yeah, it was the final season of Daredevil. The showrunner of that, Eric Olson, is in talks to take over Carnival Row Season 2 after the lead team departed.
Hey, thanks, Eric, old son. Wait, which part of the team left?
It was producer and co-writer, I believe, but I can tell you
because I don't want
exactly.
it to be...
It is following the departures of executive producer Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah, nice.
Who was behind Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Big loss.
Big, well, I mean, he's the main push behind all of the Arrowverse.
Can we just re-tag producer as Money Man?
Yeah. The guy that just signs the check.
Yeah, that's all it means.
Well, a lot of people don't know that.
And the co-creator, Travis Beacham.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Wait, he left the show?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
yeah.
He created the show.
Yeah, he's a co-creator, yep.
And he also co-created Pacific Rim, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm actually now very sad.
Yeah, he dropped out of that. Eric Olson's taken over.
Then this may not be as exciting as I was previously expecting.
It is a okay response to a troubling situation.
So, could you look up the reviews now that it's been out for a while for Carnival Row Season 1? Because I did previously cover it on our podcast, and I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the world building was very not personal, but was very contemporary when it came to racism and classism. And I thought the fantastical elements and the murder mystery, while not as strong as I would like, are they abysmal? Or
great.
Is it 50-50?
Audience score is at an 87.
Okay, good.
So with audiences, it was received really well.
I actually trust them over critics.
The critic rating, however, is at a 57%.
So this is on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes, yeah.
I trust the audience score, especially when it comes to sci-fi fantasy.
It depends on what it is, right?
When it's sci-fi fantasy.
When I see that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I'm probably going to go with... Because you got to take into consideration, one, Rotten Tomatoes is a Metacritic site.
Yes.
It's a aggregate site. So it's taking all of these reviews from multiple sources, and I feel like most of the time, those sources... They're probably having reviewers in this instance who aren't necessarily stoked for the source material.
Yeah, or vice versa, paid to say good things about the show by the show in very specific examples.
Yes, but that's like conspiracy level thinking.
All right, well, fine. I'll just take off my tinfoil hat.
Please do. It's messing up your hair.
And it's honestly rustling the mic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out. But
I'm sad.
It's disappointing that Beecham had to leave.
It's just like with Walking Dead and Frank Darabont.
Yep. We'll see how that goes.
9 more seasons.
Okay, what do we got? I think I got one more. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Marvel, the Giant.
Oh, look at me, I'm Marvel.
Is being sued.
Oh, shit.
By
just
the rights holders.
Stop it. Stop looking at me.
80s Hungarian cop show.
Oh, yeah. Why did you wait for this to be the last one?
Because the theme song for the X-Men animated series sounds almost kind of like their show.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. 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 Da-da.
So I did go and listen to Linda's theme song.
Oh, Linda.
Yes. I can see how a comparison is drawn.
You're saying this with a smirk on your face, and I love it.
It's like if you took a very small portion of that theme song and transitioned it over to a children's television show beloved by millions. Yes, I could see.
It's a person who's taking advantage of something that came out like more than 20 years ago.
So this has actually been kind of floating around for a while.
Oh, well then fuck me.
This comparison. But just recently did the rights holder take action.
It's too little too late, honestly.
Yeah. Not if your trademark holds up.
I mean, did they really trademark this thing and hold on to the trademark for over 20 years?
Did the show, yeah.
Well, the show, yes. I mean, the actual this creator.
The song is probably all is encompassed in that, or like it's included in that.
Are you talking about from the Marvel perspective or from
I'm saying
the creator?
The Hungarian,
right?
The creator of the Hungarian cop show, Linda. Probably.
It's a horrible name for a cop show. Can we just say that?
Trademarked.
Like, we're probably mispronouncing the word Linda, and it's probably Lindy.
I don't know. It looks like Linda.
Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't know. That's a terrible name for a cop show. No. How can people contact us? And anything we say past this point is just...
If you want to talk to us about Hungarian cop shows...
Good one!
Or how great the Resident Evil film franchise is...
I didn't say they were great.
You can email us at lightscameranonsense@gmail.com. We have still yet to get one email.
Stop bringing it up.
So if you email us...
We have friends and family.
We will read it. I don't know if that's been clearly established.
Do we have friends and family?
If you no,
are we alone in the universe?
We do have those, kind of. If you email us, as long as there's no derogatory terms in there,
yeah, please don't be racist, Mom.
We will read it. Like, that's the point of the email.
Yeah.
So email
lightscameranonsense@gmail.com. That is lights camera. Nonsense, exactly how it sounds, @gmail.com. Oh, shit. That makes it sound like lightscameranonsense@gmail.com. That's it. That's the whole Gmail. All right, and we will read it out on the show.
Yeah, and we'll answer you. We'll probably go into a little discussion about it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We will make time for you.
You can even prove us wrong, and we'll still read it.
Yeah.
And we'll have to go, yeah, you're right, we were wrong. Or we'll go, actually, we weren't wrong, and here's why.
Yeah. We just kind of want to throw it in your face. Can you be wrong for once?
Yeah.
We'd like to know.
But please talk to us.
I don't think you understand. We have been locked in this room recording podcast episodes for like the last 4 months.
Our only communication is with each other, and it gets broadcast over to Apple.
I need you to shave the beard. It's rustling against the mic. No, gross. Well, this has been Lights Camera Nonsense, keeping you updated despite our best efforts. Tune in every week for all the latest news, reviews, and how-do-you-do's. I really want some feedback on whether that's funny or not. I don't
care if it's funny. I just like it.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. That doesn't...